Okay, so you know how everyone's always talking about SEO?
Hmm.
Well, today we're going deep on something most people don't even think about, but it matters. Huge E URLs, like those actual web addresses.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and we found this awesome podcast. It's actually in Portuguese. It's called Digmark, all about SEO.
Okay.
They get deep into this stuff, and don't worry, we'll translate. But the cool thing is SEO, it's like universal language.
Right. The concepts are the same no matter what.
Exactly. So these ideas totally apply to us. So URLs, right? Most of us, we just see them like, gotta get to the website, click the link, done.
Yeah. Just a way to get there.
But for search engines, it's like
Yeah.
their first impression of your page.
It's true. Most people don't think about it that way. They're so used to just seeing a URL and clicking. But for search engines, it's way more than that. It's how they figure out what your page is even about.
So like a good URL helps them, what, understand it faster or something?
It's like a signal, a clear signal. Imagine you're searching for, say, gardening tips, and you get a page. The URL is example.com/gardening-tips/growing-tomatoes. You instantly get it right.
Oh, yeah, totally. Versus if it was just like a jumble of...
Exactly, like example.com/page123.id 456.
Yeah, the worst. It makes you wonder if you're even in the right spot.
Exactly. And search engines, they kind of feel the same way. They use those words in the URL to say, okay, what's this page about? What are the keywords? And even where does this fit in the whole website?
Whoa, so it's like there's logic to it. It's not just random letters they throw in there.
Not random at all. It's more like, you think of it as a roadmap for the search engines, but also for people.
Oh, that's a good point. And speaking of roadmaps, they had good examples versus bad ones in that podcast. Like one that was super clear. I wrote it down. www.yoursite.com/products/smartphones. You know right away.
Exactly. Website, category, type of product, all right there.
Yeah.
And then they contrasted that to, I mean, it was in Portuguese, but even I could tell it was a mess. Something like www.yoursite.com/categoria.php.id 123 and type electronicos and subcategory telephones. And like, what even IS that?
Oh, I see what you mean. It's like trying to use a map in a language you can't read. Confusing.
Yes. And just like with that confusing map, a bad URL, it makes people and search engines want to turn right back around.
And that's no good for anybody. But okay, so beyond just like the technical stuff, aren't good URLs just better for people in general, like user experience and all that?
Oh, 100%. If you see a URL that makes sense, you trust the website more, you're more likely to click and actually read what's there.
So it's not just about like pleasing Google. There's a real benefit for us regular folks too.
Exactly. It builds trust and makes people feel confident that they're in the right place. Think about it. If you were about to go into a store and the sign was all messed up, you might not go in. The website's the same way. And the cool thing is, this podcast, they didn't just like complain about bad URLs. They actually gave tips to make them better, like practical steps.
Ooh, okay, so like how do we actually DO that? Build a better URL? Where do we even start?
It all comes down to like a few key things. First one, keep it short. Like nobody wants this super long URL. It's like hard to even look at.
Yeah, like a run-on sentence. Just keep going.
Exactly. So shorter is better, BUT. It's got to be descriptive too.
Oh, right. So people, and I guess Google, know what they're clicking on.
Yep. Each word should tell you something about the page.
Yeah.
And that's where keywords come in.
Ah, keywords, right. Those words people actually type into the search bar, but I've also heard like too many keywords is bad. So how do you...
It's a balance.
Yeah.
You're right. You want to use them naturally, like one or two that really fit the main topic of the page.
Yeah.
So instead of example.com/blog post 123, which tells you nothing,
Yeah, totally useless.
you'd go for something like example.com/gardening-tips/growing-tomatoes.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Clear, it's relevant, and it's like actually helpful even before I click.
Exactly. And here's a little thing, but it matters. When you're separating those words in the URL, use hyphens, not underscores.
So it's growing tomatoes, not growing tomatoes. Is that like a Google thing?
It is. Search engines, they just understand hyphens better. It's like, imagine those little bots that crawl around websites, reading everything.
Oh, yeah, like the little Google spiders or whatever.
Hyphens are like little bridges to help them understand each word separately.
Hyphens it is. Okay, what about those weird symbols you sometimes see? Or like extra characters? Any reason for those?
Not really. It's mostly just clutter.
Yeah.
Like special characters, unnecessary stuff. Just keep it clean.
So we're going for like streamlined, elegant URLs, like a well-organized closet or something.
That's a great way to put it. A good URL, it's like that organized closet, makes it easy for Google to see what you've got. And just like you wouldn't hide your best-selling stuff in some dark corner.
You want your best pages to be front and center.
Exactly. So clear URLs, important pages, all make sense. Oh,
Okay.
and speaking of making sense, your URLs, they got to match the way your website's organized too.
Oh, right. Like so people don't get lost.
It's for search engines mostly.
Hmm.
Like think about how you organize files on your computer. You got folders and stuff.
Yeah, to keep it all straight.
Exactly. A website's the same, needs that logical structure so Google can be like, okay, this page is related to that one. It's all in this category and so on. Makes it way easier for them to, do their thing.
So it's like, instead of just having products all over the place, our URLs are making those virtual aisles, like at the store, so you can find what you want.
Perfect analogy. And here's the cool part. When you do this right, you're not just like checking boxes for SEO.
Hmm.
People actually like it better too. It's just easier to use a well-organized site, right?
Yeah, makes total sense. I never thought about it this much before, but this whole URL thing, it's kind of fascinating once you get into it.
It's one of those little things, but it makes a big difference. We're all about the little things in SEO though, right?
That's what we do. Okay, so to wrap up, I guess the big takeaway is
If you're listening, go look at your own website now. Are your URLs clear? Do they make sense? Or are they like that jumbled mess we talked about?
time for a little spring cleaning, maybe.
Maybe a lot of spring cleaning, but hey, even small changes help. And trust me, in the world of SEO, every little bit counts.
Yeah.
Especially now, there's so many websites, so much competition.
You got to stand out somehow.
Exactly. And a good URL, that's the first step.
Words of wisdom. Well, on that note, big thanks for geeking out with me on this deep dive into the world of URLs. Who knew they were so complex, huh? Until next time, everyone, keep those websites optimized.